My son can't breathe. Olivia screamed as she burst through the sliding doors of Los Angeles Mercy Generals, her twins clinging to her, one limp in her arms, the other crying beside her. The fluorescent lights blurred as she stumbled forward, her voice cracking with panic. A doctor sprinted toward them, his badge swinging, his gloved hands already reaching. "Give him to me now." His voice was sharp, controlled, commanding. Olivia froze. Her heart dropped. Her blood ran cold. She knew that voice. She knew that face. She had seen him only once, 5 years ago, on the night that changed everything. But he didn't look at her, not yet. He was too focused on the small boy gasping for air, his tiny chest barely rising. Crash cart. Room 3 now, the doctor shouted. Nurses rushed in from every direction. Her other son clung to her leg, sobbing. "Mommy, is he dying?" Olivia couldn't answer. Her throat tightened. Her pulse thundered. The world spun as the doctor disappeared behind double doors with her son. The doors slammed shut. And with that sound, her past slammed open. She'd spent 5 years trying to forget him. 5 years raising their twins alone, twins he never knew existed. 5 years wondering if he ever thought about her at all. And now he was the one person who could save her child. The one person she prayed would remember her. The one person she feared would. A nurse gently stopped her from following. "Ma'am, please, you have to wait. He's doing everything he can." Olivia clutched her son, knees trembling. The sterile waiting room buzzed with fluorescent silence as her mind spiraled. What if he recognized her? What if he didn't? What if her son didn't make it? Minutes felt like hours. Her son whispered, "Mommy, who was that doctor?" Olivia swallowed hard. She wasn't ready for the truth. Not yet. But she could feel it coming, crashing toward her like the night she met him. And in a few minutes, when those double doors opened again, her whole life would change. The morning sunlight crept through the blinds of Olivia Carter's tiny apartment, painting faint golden lines across the kitchen floor. She stood at the stove stirring oatmeal, her hands moving automatically, her mind still stuck in the nightmare from a few hours earlier, the image of her son gasping for air replaying again and again. "Mom?" She turned. Her son, Ethan, sat at the small wooden table beside his twin brother, Aiden, his spoon frozen mid-air. He stared at her with big brown eyes, eyes just like the man in the ER. "Why don't we have a dad like the other kids?" The question landed like a punch to her chest. Olivia blinked, forcing her voice to stay steady. "Your dad lives far away," she said softly. "He doesn't know about you." Aiden, coloring a picture with a purple crayon, looked up. "How can he not know?" Olivia turned back to the stove. She had answered this before, but somehow it always hurt the same. "Sometimes grown-ups lose touch," she said. "That's all. A lie. Or maybe just a half-truth. Either way, it was easier than the whole story, the story of a night in Seattle, a medical conference, a connection she never expected, and a morning she never forgot. A number that stopped working. A man who vanished. She poured oatmeal into bowls and set them on the table. "Eat up, we're running late." The twins ate quietly. Ethan swung his legs, the 2 big socks on his feet slipping down. Aiden hummed under his breath as he colored, filling the page with swirling shapes. Olivia sipped her coffee, watching them, these 2 little humans who carried pieces of a man who had no idea they existed. His dark curls. His warm brown eyes. His stubborn chin. Every day she saw him in them, and every day it hurt a little less, until last night when she looked up and saw him again. Not a memory. Not a ghost. Real. Alive. Standing in front of her. She shivered, pulling herself back to the moment. "Okay, kids. Time to get dressed." But as they hopped from their chairs and ran toward their room, Ethan paused at the doorway. "Mom," he said quietly, "if Daddy lives far away, do you think he'll ever come find us?" Olivia forced a smile. "I don't know, sweetheart." But the truth chilled her. He already had. Olivia helped Aiden slip into his jeans while Ethan wrestled with the zipper of his jacket. Morning chaos was normal in the cramped Los Angeles apartment. Lost shoes, messy hair, spilled cereal, but today felt heavier. The ER panic still clung to her like a shadow. She tied Ethan's shoes, fingers moving fast from years of practice. "Hold still, buddy." "I am holding still," he protested, wobbling anyway. Aiden stood in front of the mirror. "Mommy, do I look okay?" "You look perfect," Olivia said, brushing down a loose curl. They hurried down the narrow stairwell to Olivia's aging Toyota Corolla, the paint chipped, the engine loud, the heater unreliable. But it ran, and that was all she could afford. She buckled both boys into their seats, kissed their foreheads, and drove toward Bright Steps Daycare in Silver Lake. Traffic crawled, horns blared, and Ethan kept asking if the doctor from last night was going to be there again. "No, baby," she said quietly. "He works at a different hospital. A different life. A different world. One she never belonged to." After dropping the twins off, Olivia drove across town to St. Andrew's Medical Center, where she worked long shifts as a nurse. 12 hours on her feet. 12 hours answering call lights, passing meds, soothing anxious families, charting until her hands cramped. "Morning, Liv," her coworker Jenna said as they passed in the hallway. "You look exhausted." "I'm fine," Olivia replied automatically. She always said that. Whether she was behind on rent, behind on sleep, or behind on hope, it didn't matter. She managed. She always managed. During her short lunch break, she sat alone in the cafeteria with a sandwich she barely tasted. Bills filled her thoughts. Rent, daycare, medical costs, groceries. And now, hospital debt from last night. Her chest tightened. How much would Ethan's treatment cost? Could she handle this alone again? When her shift ended at 7 p.m., she drove back to daycare. The moment she walked through the door, two small bodies launched into her arms. "Mommy," Ethan cried. "You came back," Aiden said. Olivia hugged them tight, inhaling the sweet scent of crayons and graham crackers. "I'll always come back," she whispered. But deep down, a fear lingered, because after last night, everything was changing. And the man who had unknowingly been missing from their lives was now suddenly back in hers. It was just after 2 a.m. when Olivia jolted awake, her heart pounding. A sound, sharp, strangled, unnatural, echoed down the hallway. "Mom? Mom?" It was Ethan. Olivia shot out of bed and sprinted toward the twins' room. She flicked on the light, and her breath instantly caught in her throat. Ethan sat upright in bed, his small hands clawing at his throat, eyes bulging with terror. No air. No sound. Only a desperate, choking wheeze. His lips were turning blue. "Aiden, wake up!" Olivia shouted, scooping her son into her arms. Aiden sat up, wide-eyed, clutching his blanket. "Mommy, what's wrong with him? Why is he making that sound?" Olivia didn't answer, she couldn't. Panic surged through her veins as she wrapped Ethan in a blanket and grabbed Aiden's hand. "It's okay, baby. We're going to the hospital. Now." They tore down the stairs, Olivia's bare feet slapping against the cold concrete. Ethan's chest barely rose. Aiden sobbed beside her. They reached the car. Olivia threw the back door open and laid Ethan down, not bothering with seat belts, not caring about anything except air. Ethan needed air. Aiden climbed in, trembling. "Mommy, is he going to die?" "No," Olivia said, even though a part of her feared the truth. "Hold his hand. Talk to him. Keep him awake." She sped through the sleeping streets of Los Angeles, blowing through red lights, ignoring the angry honk of a truck she cut off. Her hands gripped the wheel so tightly her knuckles blanched. "Stay with me, Ethan," she whispered, her voice cracking. "Please, baby. Stay with me." The hospital was 10 minutes away. She made it in 6. She screeched into the ER entrance, jumped out, and yanked Ethan into her arms. "Help. Please, someone help me. My son can't breathe." The automatic doors slammed open. Nurses turned. A security guard took a step forward. And then, a figure in blue scrubs sprinted toward her, eyes sharp, movements precise. "Give him to me," the doctor ordered. Olivia looked up. Her breath froze. It was him. The man she never thought she'd see again. The man who didn't know these twins were his. And now, he held their son's life in his hands. The doctor didn't pause. Didn't blink. Didn't even look at Olivia. His entire focus was locked on Ethan's limp, choking body. He moved with the speed of someone who had done this 100 times, but the urgency in his eyes said this one mattered more than most. "Crash cart, now," he barked, sprinting toward the trauma doors with Ethan in his arms. Olivia tried to follow, but a nurse cut her off gently. "Ma'am, please, you have to wait out here. That's my son." Olivia's voice cracked, panic shredding what was left of her composure. "He can't breathe. I need to be with him." "I know, sweetie," the nurse said softly, steadying her shoulders. "But the doctor needs space to work. He'll do everything he can." Everything. Everything. Olivia stared at the trauma room doors as they slammed shut, her heart sinking with them. Aiden clung to her leg, trembling. "Mommy, is Ethan going to be okay?" he whispered. "I hope so, baby." Olivia pulled him closer, holding on as if her arms could stop the world from collapsing. Minutes crawled. Then half an hour. Then a full 2 hours. Every time footsteps sounded behind the trauma doors, Olivia jerked up, only to see a nurse walk past without a word. Her mind spun. What if he doesn't make it? What if that's the last time I held him? What if... The doors finally opened. The doctor stepped through, removing his mask. His scrubs were streaked with blood, his hair slightly damp with sweat. He scanned the room, searching for her. Your son is stable, he said. He had a severe airway obstruction. We performed an emergency procedure and he's breathing on his own now. Olivia sagged in relief, tears flooding her eyes. Thank you so much. He nodded, then looked down. At Aiden. His curly hair. His warm brown eyes. His small, familiar face. Something flickered across his expression. Confusion. Recognition. So, he looked through the window where Ethan now rested in recovery. Then back at Olivia. And this time he really saw her. Color drained from his face. His breathing hitched. His eyes widened in disbelief. Olivia, he whispered. She swallowed hard. Hello, Michael. He stared at the twins, then at her, his voice cracking. Why didn't you tell me? But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now subscribe to the channel and let's get started. Michael sank into one of the stiff plastic ER chairs as if the weight of the entire world had just landed on his chest. His hands trembled. His jaw clenched. He stared at Aiden, then at Olivia, then back again, trying to make sense of the impossible. They look exactly like I did at their age, he whispered almost to himself. Aiden hid behind Olivia's leg, peeking up at him with those familiar brown eyes. And Ethan, visible through the window, rested with the same little nose, the same curls, the same gentle expression Michael remembered from old photos of himself. He dragged a hand down his face. Olivia, why didn't you tell me? The words cracked, raw, breaking open years of silence. Olivia sat down slowly, her arm wrapped protectively around Aiden. Her throat tightened. This was the moment she had feared since the day she realized she was pregnant. I tried, she said quietly. Michael shook his head, disbelief turning into something sharper. No, you didn't. I gave you my number. You could have. I called, Olivia interrupted, her voice rising. 27 times, Michael. It disconnected every time. Michael's mouth fell open. I changed my number when I moved to London. I didn't think. You didn't think? Olivia's voice cracked like glass. I was pregnant, alone, terrified. I searched for you everywhere. No social media. No updated records. No contact. You vanished. Michael leaned forward, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor as tears gathered in his eyes. 5 years, he whispered. 5 years I didn't know them. 5 years I didn't know they existed. Olivia's own eyes filled. I did everything alone, Michael. Every sleepless night. Every doctor visit. Every scraped knee. Every bill. I wasn't hiding them. I was surviving. A long silence stretched between them, thick, heavy, suffocating. Aiden tugged Olivia's sleeve. Mommy, why is the doctor sad? Michael looked up, his vision blurred, his heart shattered. They're my kids, he whispered, voice trembling. Aren't they? Olivia nodded. Yes, they're your twins. Michael covered his face with both hands as a silent sob escaped him. He had saved his son's life. And at the same time discovered everything he had missed. Everything he never knew he had. The recovery room lights hummed softly as Olivia and Michael stood on either side of Ethan's bed. His tiny chest rose and fell steadily now, the danger finally easing. But the air between his parents still trembled, thick with shock, guilt, and questions neither of them knew how to answer yet. Michael gazed at Ethan as if memorizing every freckle. He looks perfect, he whispered. His voice broke. I missed 5 years of this. Olivia swallowed hard. She wasn't ready to comfort him, not yet. You didn't miss it on purpose. But I did, Michael said. I left. I didn't make sure you could reach me. I didn't think farther than my own career. Aiden tugged gently on the sleeve of his lab coat. Are you gonna help Ethan again? The boy asked, voice small and unsure. Michael knelt down in front of him. His eyes softened. I'm going to help both of you, he promised. If you'll let me. Aiden blinked, studying him. You talk like Ethan does when he's scared. Michael let out a shaky laugh. Maybe I am scared. Olivia crossed her arms, watching him cautiously. What exactly are you asking for, Michael? He stood slowly, facing her. I want to be in their lives, he said. Not just as the doctor who saved them in the ER. As their father. Being a father isn't a weekend visit and a few gifts, Olivia replied. Her voice was steady, but her eyes shimmered with exhaustion. I know, Michael said. I want to learn. I want to show up. I want to be someone they can depend on, every day. Olivia felt her walls rise. And if you get overwhelmed again? If another job takes you across the country? If you decide this isn't convenient for you? I won't, he said firmly. I'm not running again. A beat of silence. Then Ethan stirred on the bed, opening his eyes groggily. Michael instinctively reached for his son's hand. Hey buddy. You're safe. Ethan blinked at him, confused. The doctor. Michael swallowed. Yeah, he whispered. But I want to be more than that. And for the first time Olivia saw it, the truth in his eyes. He wasn't just asking for forgiveness. He was begging for a chance to rebuild everything he never knew he lost. 3 days after Ethan was discharged, the apartment finally felt calm again. Olivia moved quietly through the kitchen, trying not to think about the sleepless nights, the hospital bills, or the way her heart still raced whenever Ethan coughed even once. She kept checking on him, placing her hand on his chest just to feel it rise. Just when she thought they were past the worst, Aiden's scream shattered the early morning silence. Mommy? I can't breathe right. Olivia sprinted into the twins' room. Aiden sat upright in bed, holding his throat, his breath shallow and wheezy, not as severe as Ethan's, but enough to send panic ripping through Olivia's chest. No, not again, she whispered, grabbing her son. Ethan blinked awake, terrified. Is Aiden sick like me? We're going to the hospital, Olivia said, trying to steady her voice. She called Michael with shaking hands. He answered on the first ring. Olivia? What's wrong? It's Aiden. He's having trouble breathing. I'm taking them to Mercy. I'll meet you at the entrance. I'm on my way. The drive felt endless. Every red light was a threat. Every minute stretched thin with fear. When Olivia pulled up to the ER, Michael was already standing outside, still in his scrubs from an overnight shift. He scooped Aiden into his arms the moment she stepped out of the car. It's okay, buddy. I've got you, he murmured, rushing inside. 2 hours later, Michael finally returned to the waiting area where Olivia sat gripping Ethan's hand. His expression told her everything. What is it? She whispered. He sat beside her, voice quiet but steady. I ran tests. Aiden has growths in his throat, just like Ethan did. Olivia's breath caught. No, that can't be. Michael nodded, eyes heavy with guilt. It's genetic. A condition called recurrent respiratory papillomatosis. It's passed on from a parent, most likely me. Olivia shook her head, tears spilling. All this time, I thought Ethan's attack was an accident. Michael swallowed hard. They'll both need surgeries, potentially every year. Ongoing treatment. Regular monitoring. Ethan squeezed Olivia's hand tighter. Mom, am I sick forever? Olivia couldn't answer. Because for the first time she realized this wasn't a single emergency. It was the beginning of a lifelong battle they would all face together. The days after Aiden's diagnosis felt like walking through storm clouds. Olivia barely slept. Michael kept checking on the twins, hovering like a man terrified to blink. But the real storm arrived one evening with a sharp, demanding knock on Olivia's apartment door. Olivia opened it, and froze. A tall woman stood in the doorway, expensive coat, rigid posture, silver hair pulled tight. Her expression was sharp enough to cut glass. Are you Olivia Carter? Her voice held accusation before the words even formed. Yes, Olivia said cautiously. I'm Susan Reynolds, the woman replied. Michael's mother. We need to talk about what you've done. Before Olivia could answer, Susan breezed inside as if she owned the place. Her sharp eyes swept over the tiny living room, the old couch, the toys scattered across the floor. Then her gaze landed on Ethan and Aiden. She stopped. Her breath hitched, just for a second, as she took in their faces. They look exactly like Michael did at their age, she whispered. But the softness vanished as quickly as it appeared. She turned back to Olivia, icy and furious. You kept them from him, Susan snapped. From us. You robbed my son of 5 years of fatherhood. Olivia stiffened. That's not true. I tried to find him. There are ways to find people, Susan interrupted. You could have hired help. You could have tried harder. Instead, you waited until one of them nearly died, and now suddenly Michael is back in your life. Aiden's face crumpled. Why is she yelling at Mommy? Olivia knelt beside him. It's okay, sweetheart. Everything's okay. But it wasn't. Not with Susan glaring, not with the twins watching, not with the old fear rising in Olivia's chest. Suddenly the apartment door burst open. Michael rushed inside, breathless. Mom, what are you doing here? I'm protecting you. Susan snapped. From being manipulated, enough. Michael's voice was sharp, controlled. You don't get to speak to Olivia like that. She did nothing wrong. Susan stared at him, stunned. I'm your mother. And she's the mother of my children, Michael replied. If you can't respect her, you can leave. Silence dropped over the room like a weight. Susan stepped back, hurt flashing in her eyes. Then she turned and walked out without another word. The door closed softly behind her. Michael looked at Olivia, shame and frustration twisting his features. I'm so sorry, this wasn't how I wanted any of this to go. But Olivia wasn't sure which scared her more. Susan's accusations. Or what would happen next. Spring crept into Los Angeles slowly, soft breezes, longer sunsets, the kind of warmth that made playgrounds fill again. For Olivia, the season felt like breathing after months underwater. Ethan and Aiden were healing, their follow-up appointments steady and reassuring. And Michael, he was no longer a visitor in their lives. He was a presence, a constant, a promise. Their new rhythm formed quietly. Michael stopped by after shifts to check the twins' throats. He learned how Aiden liked his sandwiches cut into shapes and how Ethan needed the light on low when he fell asleep. He helped with homework, read bedtime stories, and showed up even on the days Olivia didn't expect him. Trust, something she once believed was gone forever, began returning one small moment at a time. Then one warm evening in June, after the twins were tucked into bed, Olivia and Michael sat on the old couch, just inches apart. Aiden's colorful drawings covered the wall behind them, each one unintentionally showing a family of 4. You know, Michael said softly, a year ago I thought I had everything figured out. My career. My future. My goals. Olivia smiled faintly. And now? Now I realize the best part of my life was something I never planned. Something I never even knew I needed. Her heart fluttered, quietly, unexpectedly. Michael. I'm not asking for anything overnight, he said gently. We've both been hurt. We've both lost time we can't get back. But I want to build something real, Olivia. For them. For us. She looked down at her hands, then up into the eyes that used to haunt her memories but now grounded her. I never thought I'd say this, she whispered, but I'm happy. Really happy. And I'm scared of it. He reached for her hand. That means it matters. She didn't pull away this time. Outside, the twins' laughter from earlier still seemed to echo softly in the apartment, proof of how far they had come. We can take it slow, Michael said. Step by step. Olivia nodded. Okay, she whispered. Let's take that step. Michael smiled, warm and real. Then this is our new beginning. And for the first time, Olivia truly believed in second chances, not because of fate or luck or timing, but because the man sitting beside her had shown up when it mattered most.